All right, welcome to a lesson about face shapes, and not just about face shapes, but all the different parts of your face and how, like your nose, your lips, your eyes can have all kinds of different shapes to them depending on your genetics. So I'm going to run through some slides, and then we're going to look at some examples so you guys understand what these different terms mean. But before we do that, just want to do a little reminder about something we learned from last week, which is we did a lesson on facial proportions. So, excuse me. Just remember that when we're drawing the human face, we start with drawing the overall human head. Okay, head's usually a little bigger on the top and a little smaller on the bottom because head comes down into our chin and our brain is up here, so it takes up more space. Remember that halfway from the top of our head to our chin, okay, halfway is our eye line. Remember that we should be able to fit about 5 of our eyes across our face. So the width of one eye is about 1/5 of that whole distance from side to side of our face. Okay, so I could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyes across my face. Okay, halfway down between my eye line and my chin is my nose line. So the nose goes there. Okay, halfway down between the nose line and the chin is the lip line, and the lip line sits on top of that little line right there. Okay, and then we use our eye line and our nose line to determine where our ears go. Okay, now it's not a perfect science, but it's just about the correct proportions of the human face, and it's a whole lot better than trying to draw a human face like that, like an emoji. Blech. No, don't like that. Okay, so we're going to get that out of our head. Just a nice little reminder how to draw human proportions of the face. Okay, now we're going to get into face shapes, like I said, because if we can start to pay attention to the small subtleties and details of human face, then we'll be able to draw somebody more accurately. Okay, so we're going to start with just the overall face shape. Depending on who you're looking at, depending on you, if you're looking at the mirror, you'll notice that your face has a specific shape to it. Some people have a little bit more of like a protruding chin, like a heart-shaped face right here, where their chin is very pronounced and quite sharp. Some people, like my dad and my brother, have more of a rounded face where you barely even see their chin. Okay. We've got different examples of each one. Some people have like a really long face like that. I think that's a little bit more me. And this kind of helps show you a little bit more. Some people actually do kind of have a heart-shaped face where it doesn't mean they have a widow's peak right here, but it just means that their jawline kind of comes down and bends a little bit, and then their chin comes down to a little bit of a point. Okay, so once we start doing some comparisons of actual people, you'll be able to see what this means. Okay. Some more examples. There's some different kind of eye shapes that you'll come across. It's a little hard to read, but some people have like a little bit more almond-shaped eyes, whereas some people have kind of more round, protruding eyes. Protruding eyes means their eyes kind of seem as if they're a little bit like popping out of their head. Some people have like more deep set eyes, so you'll see here, and we'll look at examples of these. And it just means their eyes seem like they're a little bit more far back in their head, and you can actually kind of see like a shadow over their eyes, and their eyes are kind of like back into their eye socket. Something to also take a look at is the idea of how their eyes are turned. Some people actually have eyes that droop down on the sides a little bit. They're called downturned eyes. We'll take a look at some examples. Okay, here's some more to look at. Like I said, some people have more round eyes. Some people have wide set eyes. It seems like there's a little bit of a further space between eyeball to eyeball. I actually have close set eyes. It means my eyes are a little bit more close together than normal. Okay, you can also have different like lids on your eye. So depending if your eyes are hooded or not, you might see a little bit more of an eyelid, which is easier to put makeup on. Okay, and here are some real examples. Okay, so let's see. You can kind of see, like we're talking about here for downturned eyes, the tips of their eyes kind of point down, whereas in this picture right here, their eyes are actually like lifted up a little bit on the sides. And it's not just because of their makeup. But again, we'll look at more examples. Oh, here's a good example though of a hooded eye. Okay, you can't see much of their eyelid because their eye socket kind of protrudes over their eye and kind of blocks. Okay, here's a better example. Okay, from hooded, where it really blocks out a lot of their eyelid, to just partially hooded and then not hooded at all. Okay, you could really see their whole eye, their eyelid, all their eyelashes. Okay, there's a lot of different nose shapes out there, and it's easier to tell a nose shape based on a profile picture. I don't mean like a social media profile picture, I mean like a side view. Okay, so here's a lot of examples. And you'll get to go through these more slowly and open up the slides yourself, but here's a lot of examples. Okay, some people have a little bit more of like a upturned nose. Some people have more of a nose that kind of actually droops down. Okay, some people have like a very strong bridge on their nose. Some people have a very thin bridge on their nose. Okay, and lips. All right, so all kinds of different lip shapes out there. Some people have a bottom lip that's a lot bigger than the top. Some people have a top lip that's actually bigger than the bottom. Just depends. Some people have lips that are actually turned down, so it looks a little bit more like maybe they're frowning for their default face. Some people have lips that are a little bit more turned up all the time, so it looks like they're happy for their default face. Okay, here's some more examples. Okay, and ear shapes, again, this is something that you'll see like when you're looking at the side of somebody's face. Okay. It's hard to tell somebody's ear shape when you're looking at them straight on. Now, what we're going to do is I want us to use a reference. A very famous photographer called Martin Scholler. Okay, takes really famous portraits of celebrities. Okay, very, very famous person. We'll go to images. Okay, so he takes these portraits like this, and this is going to be really helpful to us because we could see their face just perfectly straight on, so we could start kind of breaking down their face and trying to figure out what kind of eyes, what kind of face shape they have, what kind of eye shape do they have, what kind of lip shape do they have. So let's start out with good old Brad Pitt. Okay, so for his face shape, let's go back up to face shapes. I think this is going to help us. So if we take a look at his face shape, it's definitely not a rounded face. He has a very like strong chin and quite a strong jawline. So it seems as though I think the diamond face best goes on with him because it has that strong jawline and a very strong pointed chin. So you can already tell his face shape just by that. And again, when we like pinpoint these details, we'll be able to draw something a lot better than that really, really quick way of doing something where make people's faces look like emojis all the time. If we can pinpoint just their face shape alone, then we'll have an easier time drawing Brad Pitt's face. Okay, in terms of his eyes, now, what you'll see is he definitely has hooded eyes, okay, because you could barely see his eyelids and his eyelashes. And they seem to be, they're not very round. They seem to be almond eyes, okay? And they're actually quite thin almond eyes, as you can see. Okay, now, more examples. Yeah, okay. It doesn't look like his eyes are downturned or upturned. They're just kind of flat. They don't seem wide set or close set, but they definitely are hooded. You can see that detail. It's hard to see his eyelids. In terms of his nose, okay, we're gonna have to do a little bit more research. I can't tell what kind of nose he has because I'm looking at him straight on. So I know this is Brad Pitt. What you could do is you could go to Google Images, and whoever it is the celebrity that you're looking at, you type in their name and then you type side profile. Okay, and then that'll give you a better picture of their nose so you can see what kind of nose they have. So let's go back. Oops, here we go. Seems like he has a little bit more of a snub nose, as you're seeing there. Okay, it definitely doesn't hang down. It's not upturned. It's not bulbous or anything like that. Seems to have a medium-sized nose, and this is going to help me need more of this chart. It's not really perky. It kind of has like maybe a refined or hero kind of snub nose. Okay, so I know these are different charts, but just use them to your best ability to try and figure out what kind of nose somebody has. Okay, now let's go to lip shapes. Let's go back to that picture that we had. Okay, what kind of lips does he have? He seems to have quite full lips. He seems to have a heavier bottom lip than upper lip. And I don't know if it's about the way he's posing his lips right now, but they seem a little bit uneven. So you can see here, uneven. So yeah, that seems to be his lips. They're full, bigger on the bottom, a little bit uneven. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Ear shapes. I think we're gonna have to go back to the side profile view to figure out what kind of ear he has. And doesn't seem to have, it's a broad earlobe, I think. I don't know. Attached lobe? Yeah, his lobe is attached. It's not hanging. Doesn't seem like his ear is sticking out very far. He doesn't have a narrow ear. Maybe it is kind of pointed with an attached earlobe. It's one of these two, I think. Okay. All right, so by doing that, if I were to draw a portrait of Brad Pitt, now that I've identified his face shape, his eye shape, his lip shape, you know, this is going to help me pay more attention to how he, how I should actually really draw him rather than just going, oh, Brad Pitt, okay, here we go, there we go, Brad Pitt, and he's got really great hair. Oh, you know, we're going to get away from that and actually try to draw him more realistically. So for your assignment for today, I'm going to open up a Google Doc, and I want you to go ahead and take a look at Martin Scholer's different portraits of celebrities. And I will give you instructions so you can follow the instructions. You're going to look up Martin Scholer's portraits and go ahead and choose a celebrity that you'd like to look at, okay, or any of these portraits. And that's actually the photographer himself. So go ahead and pick one. You might be like, oh, I love Amy Adams, cool. And then you go through the slides, and I'd like you to determine their face shape, their eye shape. Let's try to get their nose shape. You're going to have to look up a side profile view. So if this is Amy Adams, again, if I want to see what kind of nose and ear she has, I type in her name, side profile, and that should help me. There we go. Okay, you kind of look at the side of her nose and her ears, and she's kind of got a little bit of an upturned nose, and that should help you, okay? So you can figure out face shape, eye shape, nose shape, lip shape. Try to get the ear shape too, and then go ahead and practice actually looking at their picture and trying to draw their portrait according to what you see, okay? It doesn't need to be like totally like shaded in or anything. Let's try and draw a pretty accurate portrait of their person. Try to get it to look like the person that you're looking at. And again, like identifying those different facial shapes of all the different features will very much help you than going back to this way of drawing something, okay? One more thing too, remember, take the same approach that we took last week at drawing a portrait of paying attention to the proportions. You know, first start by drawing out their whole head, okay, and then go ahead and split it down. And you could see, okay, you could see her whole head from top to bottom, and you could see that her eyes rest like halfway between the top of her head and the bottom of her chin. You could see those facial proportions there, okay? So pay attention to all that stuff. And good luck drawing your portrait. And you're going to turn it in on Google Classroom.